Hi, Sanford Strong here. First, I'm glad you cared enough for your safety and the safety of your family to purchase this videotape. This is a special edition video. Not only does it contain my basic survival training, it also contains exclusive footage I'm sharing for the very first time. I'll show you how to set up family survival drills, and I'm going to answer the burning question in this country. Should you own a gun to protect your family?
Sanford Strong's recommendations to take specific action in the face of violent crime are recommendations only, and although based on his 20 years of law enforcement experience, do not guarantee a successful result. Ladies and gentlemen, Sanford Strong.
Glad you're here. I'm glad to be with you. I'll be talking to you about crime tonight. I don't mean auto theft. I don't mean someone breaking into your house, stealing your things while you're gone on vacation. I'm talking about the new crime in America. The random violence, the kind that explodes in front of people and just paralyzes them, takes lives. You need the exact same survival mindset that cops learn, that I taught the cops. Nothing less. You need it. A survival mindset is the absolute bottom line when it comes to learning how to protect yourself against that new crime I talked about. A survival mindset is going to be the heart of everything I talk about tonight. Car crimes. In 1 year alone, in America, there were 200,000 car crimes. 1993. 20,000 of those crimes were violent. A woman raped, or a motorist shot or killed, badly beaten. And the worst of them all are carjackings. They go down so fast, 5 to 10 seconds is all it takes. Watch this one.
Hey, sir. Sorry to bother you, but my car has
so
a dead
nice,
battery. I wonder if you could give me a jump.
Oh, we don't even have any
Maybe
cables.
once you get out of the car.
What are you doing? Shut up! Get out of the car! What are you
Arguing with him, grabbed out. One gets in, lets the other one in.
Shut up! Get in the car! Shut up!
We've got right now a sandwiched woman. This man's lucky. He's out of the car. She's sandwiched in between two crooks and out of there. That's not rare. That's common, and sometimes that's the point behind the carjacking itself. Now, let's rewind this, and let's give this couple another chance. Watch.
Hey, sir. Sorry to bother you, but my car over there has a dead battery. I was wondering if you could give me a jump.
Oh, we don't even have any cables.
Once you get out there.
Out of there! I can tell you for a fact, that man who hit the gas that fast, that was not the result of all of a sudden, never having thought about this, decided I'll hit the gas. That is the result of a couple who did spend some time deciding what are they going to do, and immediately they were out of there. That's a survival mindset. Watch next their
Sorry
new
to bother you.
attitude.
My car over there has a dead battery. I was wondering if you could give me a jump.
We're out of here, bam. That attitude is called my safety first, their feeling second. Let's make sure we get that. It's absolutely critical. And in fact, it's critical to you listening to your gut instincts. In fact, you remember when they rolled down the window? If it was me, and I was in the car with you, I'd have said, leave it up, we're out of here. My attitude, my new attitude, my safety first, their feeling second, I'm telling you, kicks in right now. I'm not interested in what they have to say. That's critical. It's time now for us to deal with carjacking as a family problem, and that means a family carjacking drill that involves parents and children. First, you need to understand something about teaching children. There must be role play. A child needs, the 9 and 10 and 12-year-olds included, role play, hands-on. What I'm going to do right now is take you through the steps of a family carjacking drill with the help of the Rothrock family. The first thing you've got to do is get the entire family out to the driveway for the practice drill. Everyone, no exceptions. We're going to practice the 3 most common carjacking scenarios. First, let's say your family is headed to the car and Mom, or anyone else for that matter, sees someone suspicious milling around your parked car.
Hey, wait a minute.
Walking out,
Okay, I'm afraid. Let's go back.
gut feeling told her
Come on.
something's wrong.
Let's walk back
And
quickly.
that's the one that's wrong. Her immediate response is to leave that family, those children, turning around immediately and leaving with Mom. No questions asked, no arguing, no where's the problem, Mom? That comes only as a result of a family together, all the children together, deciding how are we going to respond. And part of the response was when they saw something that made one of them, in this case Mom, a bad gut feeling. She responded to it and they all turned around. No questions asked. The second carjacking scenario is kind of similar to the first. Dad sees a suspicious person lurking around, but this time not close to the car, maybe across the street. And there's still time, enough for the family to make a dash for the car. Dad's with
Emergency, get in
him,
the car.
sees something, and what it was someone a little out of your vision of this screen lurking. That also didn't happen by accident. That's the result of a family talking together about what are they going to do. And you know something? It has to be to the point of who gets in what doors and who starts the car and gets out of there. They were in that car fast and out of there, and that happens only as a result of practice. It starts with role play, whole family together. The final carjacking drill is aimed at protecting you against the carjacker who grabs the driver. Everything's working fine. Getting into the car. All of a sudden,
Emergency,
things
get
go
out, run.
downhill. Dad yelled, "Emergency, get out." In seconds, you saw the entire family out of the car. That also, like everything else, doesn't happen by accident. If that family had not spent a little bit of time with the entire family talking with each other, there's absolutely no way, you and I both know that he could have yelled, "Emergency, get out," and everyone responded in unison instantly. In 1994, there were 31 children kidnapped accidentally by carjackers. One of them wound up dead, one of those small children thrown from the speeding car of a carjacker. That would have never happened to that family because they made some decisions ahead of time. There's some elements of carjacking that will help you when you drill with your family. One, you can expect it first to usually happen at an intersection. 2, parking lots, private or public, it doesn't make any difference. And 3, in driveways. What you saw here was the third most common. Most carjackers, as you saw earlier in our program, will come at you in pairs. And when they are in pairs, they'll come from both sides. Count on that. Most importantly, you can count on this, and this must be a part of your carjacking drill with your family. Don't oversight it. It'll come back and haunt you. Part of the training for your children must be in the survival mindset, not just step 1, seeing yourself in the car and a carjacking occurring and you getting out or quickly getting into the car, but also getting hurt. Don't overlook that. If you don't deal with your children like that in a matter-of-factly way, when it happens, your children will be absolutely paralyzed. It'll interfere with them responding to your commands to get out. I can guarantee you this. Carjackers are going to go after your adults. You're going to have your hands full. You can easily be injured. You're not going to be in a position to help your children or save them. It's going to be your command and their response that's going to save your kids. A carjacking family drill requires you to deal with all elements, including the fact that people are going to be hurt. Once again, it's leadership, and it all begins with you. There's a lot at stake here. Your kids. Now, let's move into the most effective crime ruse in 20 years I've ever seen. It's called bumper crimes. It works against us so easily. You're going to be watching my very first case. many years ago.
Chris, are you okay?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back and check and see about the damage on the car. You stay right here, Chris, okay?
Okay.
Habit, isn't it? Check the damage.
Ma'am, I'm sorry
This
about
is
that.
exactly the way it went
Take
down.
care of your damage for you.
Didn't look like this.
There was no time. Hit her immediately.
Do what I say and get
Stuffed
in the
her into the car.
Get in the car now. Get
In my case, the boy was 10 years old. He saw his mom hit, grabbed, shoved into a car, and taken off. We found her 3 hours later, beaten and raped. And that scene would never leave that little boy's mind. That woman didn't get a second chance. You wouldn't either. But we're going to give this one a second chance. Watch. Watch the difference in her response.
Chris, are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Mm-hmm. I don't like this situation one bit. We're gonna stay right here.
She's already
okay?
telling him she's afraid
Let's
to
go
stay in
check
the
out
car.
the damage.
No, Chris, did you hear me? I said we're gonna stay right here.
Taking charge.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, are your doors locked?
Doors
ma'am.
locked,
No,
making
the
sure
windows are
everything's
up.
okay.
Stay right here.
Engine's still running, remember that.
I'm a little bit afraid. So we're gonna go up to the convenience store and swap information, okay?
We've had an accident, and I've got an injured passenger in the car. I think I'm gonna need your help.
It's a lot of
No,
BS.
I'm
Best
afraid.
ruse there's ever been.
And I want to go up to the convenience store. Just follow me up there, okay?
Get out of the car.
Mama, he's gonna hurt us.
It's okay. It's okay, Chris. Calm down. I've
Remember?
got everything he needs right
She's
here.
still in charge.
Here, this is all you need. Just take this and just go. That's it.
This isn't gonna cut it, lady. Now, get out of the damn
Of course,
car
Chris.
now. Come on.
Watch her, she's out of here. That little white thing in his hand is a 3x5 card she gave him. You ever been in an accident? You ever been under a lot of pressure at an accident scene, wondering what you're going to write down, what should you write with and give to someone else and you exchange information? How about, whether it just be an accident scene or something like this, how about taking a little bit of pressure off yourself at a time like that? Put a 3x5 card in your glove compartment box with the information that's not going to lead them to your house or private home telephone number and have it there. You'll only need one of them, I hope. And also take charge in the car. Don't let anyone get out. If that little boy had been an adult male, he probably would have wanted to get out, go back and handle it. And then he would have been hit, shot. She would have had to stay. She'd have been just as bad off. Driver, take charge. No one gets out of the car. Bumper crimes are the most effective ruse I've ever found in 20 years of law enforcement. And all it takes is leaving that car running. And when this man comes up and insists she gets out, her saying to everyone in the car and herself, I'm afraid, now she knows exactly what kind of a jerk he is. You know something? If back there, what's your name? Angela, if a man was at your window and you said, I'm afraid, that man, anyone here, anyone at home, as a gentleman would say, okay, I'll follow to the nearest convenience store. A man like this, insisting you get out, is either a crook or a jerk. Give him one more chance to follow you, and then like her, you're out of there. You can tell him later that you were afraid. Now, stranded on a highway, big time worry, big time problem. For some people, a lot worse, deadly, especially for women, because of the highway hunters. That's right, highway hunters. Watch this. An exact duplication of one of my cases. Not the first, one of them. Doing what she's always read that she should do. Sit in the car and wait for the nice policeman to come by and help her.
Trouble. Need a little help?
No, thank you. I've notified somebody.
Me, my friend, be happy to take you anywhere you want to go.
Well, thank you, but help is on the way.
Look at him looking around to see, are we alone?
It'll be a long time.
No, they should be here any minute. Thank you.
We're just trying to help out.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Folks, she is not in a fortress. She's a
Get out of the
caged
damn
bird.
car!
That's exactly what happened in my cases.
Get out of here!
She felt so sure that she'd be okay. In a car, secure, warm.
Shut up!
In all of my cases, whether in a couple of them it was one man, in one it was two. They drag her back, take her to another place, 2 or 3 hours, take their turns and rape her. Now, this woman didn't have a second chance. None of my cases did, but we're going to give a second chance to her anyway. Watch. She stops, same place, got some city lights here. She's got a choice, stay in her car, too far out of the way, or get out and walk to a place she actually can see, city lights, go to another place. That's right, maybe she shouldn't wait for the nice policeman to come along, rescue her, help her, or a good Samaritan to come along. So she goes across the street, but she doesn't walk on the shoulder of the road where headlights can see her, pick her up. Listen, if she was on the shoulder road, they could grab her just as easily as she's next to her car. Headlights would pick her up, they could see her. She's off in the bushes. Here's an open business. She's going to be headed toward that place right there. She's off in the bushes. Instead of waiting for someone else to come along and solve her problem for her, she's relying on herself. Uncomfortable, wet, uneven terrain, dark, yeah, but safe. Big difference. Watch the next case. It's even more extreme, but then, of course, it's even further out in the country. Do you carry something in the trunk of your car so that if you have to put a warm coat on or some comfortable clothes, you can do that and then leave the car? Just in case. She's walking off 50 or 60 feet into the brush. Yes, she's cold. Yes, she's going to be alone, but she's not a caged bird waiting for a couple of people to come by. She's going to see a couple of people check her car out. She's going to see what they're going to do. And she's going to be damn glad she's not in that car, instead watching. I know it's extreme. But you see, highway hunters have got such a perfect opportunity. There's no place better for a crime to occur than on a desolate highway. They know that, and they know how vulnerable people are. What did she need most of all? What have we not talked about? What's been missing? A cellular phone. I'm telling you for a fact. I'm not a man for gadgets, but this is a long way from a gadget. This is the absolute most important purchase you can ever make for crime avoidance, including crime protection. In my family, it's not a luxury. It's a bottom line necessity. It's worth stretching your budget for. I know for a fact, as one of my old cases, the last thing in her mind right now is having a gun put to her.
Excuse me, ma'am, I'm in a real bind. Can you give me a hand? My cellular phone went out and I need to talk to my wife.
I'm in a hurry.
There we are. That woman right there, one of my past cases, I've talked to her. That woman right there has no idea what to do. That's the last thing she ever thought would happen to her. That guy, right here, he's a recidivist. He was a two-time loser. He knew exactly what he was going to do. It was not his first armed robbery, not even close. It was only her first armed robbery. I'll tell you for a fact, at all crime scenes like this, one or two things are going to happen. This jerk is either going to take her property or he's going to take her. Let's watch this. Roll it again.
Go for a little drive.
No!
Go for a little drive.
All right, we're not talking about a thief.
Don't hurt me, please.
He's taken her.
Hey, women that scream.
We're not at all talking about a thief. There she goes. To a place I call crime scene number 2. Crime scene number 2 is a risk-all situation. It's much worse than it is right now. It's the end of the line. And there's only one way out of the paralyzing fear that this woman feels right now, being driven in her car at gunpoint by a man who's threatening to kill her. In order for her to break out of that wall of fear, is she's got to have a survival mindset. What we opened up with, that's crucial. That gives her something to fall back on when she is paralyzed with fear. There are 3 steps. It's a visualization, an imagining of what would I do. It's the very same, just as good as being there in real life as far as preparing yourself for making survival decisions. Step 1, see yourself at the scene, like this one right here. Step 2, see yourself responding. Take yourself back for a second and imagine you in that parking lot and see yourself responding while he's trying to push you into the car. And step 3, it's unique only to crime survival. You've got to expect to be hurt. It's the gaping hole in almost all crime protection programs. Let's look at this honestly. If cops get hurt facing the crooks after you've faced them, can't you see you've got to face the same fact? Now, let's rewind. Let's give this woman another chance with a survival mindset.
Just do what I say and you won't get hurt.
Hold it. Did you hear what he said? Do as I say, you won't get hurt. You just heard the first statement out of all crooks' mouths, especially if they've got a gun or knife. You can count on it. I can't tell you exactly the way they'll say it, but they'll always warn you. You do what I say, you won't get hurt. It paralyzes people. It's the beginning of paralyzing fear. Do as I say, you won't get hurt. You believe that lie, and you're headed down the same path as everyone before her. Crooks don't treat you differently. I don't care the promises they make to you. You're not special. You're not different to them. You're just next, nothing more. Remember that, please. Do not believe him, ever. It's so easy. And one of the reasons why it's so easy is we impart our value systems onto them. We don't make promises we don't intend to keep. The second mistake that people make consistently is that they wait for the right time. Can you see yourself gun at you like this and you think to yourself, well, I won't do anything right now to overreact. I'll wait till the right time. And you know what we're really waiting for? We're waiting for a safe time. Guess what? When the gun's out, the safe time is over. The crime's going down. From this point on, it's as good as it gets. You didn't want to hear that, but it's fact. The third mistake that people make is they try to talk to people. They try to talk to crooks in the same way they talk to other people. And the bottom line is, let's face it for just a second. If a crook was open to discussion, if he was any compassion, if he wanted a dialogue, he wouldn't be here in the first place, would he? Period. What should you do? Be the most willing, compliant robbery victim he's had all day. Give him the property and bolt and run. Watch this.
I just want your money and your car keys. Now put them in my hands. That girl. Credit cards, money. Come on. Come on.
My wallet, my credit card.
What else you got in there?
Nothing.
And bolt and run. Hold it. I know what you're thinking. Strong, you're asking me, gun to my stomach, to turn around and run? We'll get there. First, I want to talk about his two choices and her two choices. He's either going to take her or the property. One or the other is going to happen. She is either going to give up her property and bolt and run and take the risk right here, or she's going to give up her property, or he's going to take it, and she's going to do nothing and wait and see what's next. That's big time risk. Watch this.
I just want your keys and your money.
My wallet, my credit card.
What else you got in there?
Nothing.
You've just seen it. A thief. She gave up the property, she's out of there, and he's out of there too. 9 times out of 10, that's exactly what's going to happen, thank God. Most people, even with guns, are not killers. They're thieves, they're using it to control people, and it's real effective, and they're out of there. Now, bolt and run. It's something that a lot of you really haven't thought about, because with a gun to your head, you're thinking, God, what can I do? Not only am I going to be paralyzed with fear, but he's got complete power and control over me. This is the bottom line behind bolt and run. Is he going to shoot or not? The shooters. Let's talk about them. People miss. This is not the reason to run, but let me just give you your odds right now. If he's a shooter, of him hitting you. You take off. You run. Will he miss? Anyone here ever done any shooting? At home, ever done any shooting? You ever missed anything? A real-life gunfight between cops and crooks in the United States is 3 to 9 feet. At 3 to 9 feet, cops miss 3 of every 4 bullets fired. Bottom line, Surprise to you, but that's the way it is. Yes, out of every 4 shots, they hit once. But that's not the reason for you to run. The reason for you to run is simply that word I used earlier, crime scene number 2. A stranger, you've never seen him before. He's taken you down at gunpoint. You've been the most willing, compliant robbery victim he's had all night. You've given all the property, you've bolted and run, and instead of him being a man like this, who immediately scoops the property up, he's out of there, a shooter will first think, instead of the property, of shooting at you. You tell me, a man who in the first few seconds of an easy robbery, who doesn't think of the property, but first thinks about shooting you, was he a robber in the first place, or was he a killer? Can you see the bottom line? If he'll shoot you in a public place in the first few seconds, he'd have damn sure shot you later on. That's where we are. That's the bottom line. All right, let's watch a shooter now. She's out of there. His last thought is property. His first concentration is on her. This is not a thief. The entire bottom line for you to create a survival mindset is to deal with the worst. And you're looking at the worst right now. I can tell you right now, for you to survive the worst, your best chance is in a public place. Someone can hear, someone can come to your aid. And most important, after he shot in a public place, you saw him what? Out of here. I can tell you for a fact, if he was in an isolated place, crime scene number 2, he'd have been under no pressure, and what would he have done after he shot her? He'd have walked up to her, made sure she was through, and finished her off. Your best chance. Take the risk. Public place. Never put it off for later. Okay, let's say she didn't take the risk. She did what he said. She got in the car. Let's rewind it. Watch this.
Don't make a scene or I'll drop you right here.
She doesn't take a risk.
Don't hurt me.
Gets in the car.
Just gonna get out of the
Gun
parking
still to her
lot,
head.
baby.
Not a whole lot of change.
And we're gonna take a
Where's
little
she headed,
trip out
folks?
the country, maybe, huh?
Out of a public parking place. Crime scene number 2. She's doing nothing right now. She's hoping that it's all going to be okay. Folks, that rule, crime scene number 2, avoid it at all costs. It literally must become your line in the sand. I mean, it's such an important rule, survival rule, a part of your survival mindset that I'm asking you that if you reject, forget, take nothing else out of here from this program, take crime scene number 2 with you. It's the bottom line, most important rule in all of crime survival. And it's not always 5 miles out of town to a wooded area to where I happen to know she is headed. It can be just 10 feet around behind the wall of a building, but out of sight. It can be from a walking path down into the reeds, a man taking you at knife point, or into a river area that goes through your city, but still out of sight. It could be from a jogging path. A man confronts you coming this direction, takes you over into the tree line, but again out of sight. The bottom line in a man taking you out of sight is that he's not a thief. And I look at this little girl next to you, your daughter, and I can't help but think about some of the crimes I've had, cases where men have taken little girls, little boys away. It's always to another spot, to crime scene number 2. It gets violent. Your odds are stacked against you. Okay. There's one last chance you have, though. You're being dragged into the tree line or around behind a building, or this woman right here at gunpoint in the car as a passenger. And that last chance is to gouge his eyes. I didn't say poke, I didn't say jab, I said gouge his eyes. Watch this.
Go for a little ride and then...
You saw it. She's out of there. If you're thinking to yourself, it's so rage-filled, I don't know if I could do it, gouge a man's eye, are you thinking you literally yourself, yuck? Let me ask you this. Could you gouge the eye of a man dragging your child off in a second and be damn proud of it? Not hesitate for a second. I'm asking you to make a decision for yourself. Gouge the eye. There's absolutely nothing more effective. It's your best chance. You know something I was just thinking of right at that second. A couple of days ago, I saw on a television program something called, well, they call it a sport. Wait till you hear about this new sport that I saw on television. I guess it's spreading across the United States. It's called the Ultimate Fighting Championships. I don't know exactly who these fighters are and what they're fighting for, but the bottom line, as far as I understood from watching that program, is that there are no holds barred. They can do absolutely anything they want to do, except they can't gouge eyes. Does that give you a little bit of a hint as just how effective it is? You will never be able to gouge a man's eye until you get over the wall right now and say, I can do it, because there's too much at stake for me not to. Let's reverse it. Let's take her out of the passenger seat with a gun to her head, and let's put her as the driver. Watch this.
We're just taking a little old
Still in the
sunny
car,
drive, you know.
same jerk, same gun. Get a feel for what's going through her mind. What am I going to do? What's my last chance? Here we go. Crash it. Ha. She's out of there. Let's back up for a second. You're in a car. Whether you're a passenger, gun to your head, or you're the driver, you've got one major job. You're headed for crime scene number 2, right? How do you stop it? Jump out of a car, scream, yell, honk the horn? No. Gouge his eyes, force him to crash it, or you crash it. Don't drive around looking for something to hit. It's not going to be there quickly enough. Don't drive around looking for a police car to run into. 10, 15 miles an hour for the nearest car that doesn't have people in it. Trash cans, fire hydrants, but do it right there. There's absolutely nothing that will bring more pressure on him, bring more commotion to this scene, and give you the best chance. And if you're wondering, Strong, he's got a gun. It'll make him mad. He'll shoot me. We're right back to Bolton running the premise of, if they'll shoot in a public place, what the heck are they going to do when they get to crime scene number 2? It's a matter of survival, remember? All right, you're better off taking your risk at a public spot always. Crime scene number 2 is the absolute end of the line. Can you see it? Is it beginning to get clear? Take my risk at crime scene number 1. Crime scene number 2 is the end of the line. The odds are too heavily stacked against me. Let's say she doesn't gouge his eye, force him to crash it, or crash it herself. The bottom line is she won't be taking her risks there. She'll be taking them later. She'll be headed to crime scene number 2. There she goes. Crime scene number 2. Out of town.
I hate women that talk too much.
I can tell you for a fact, he knows where he's going. This spot he's going to, I've been there. It was my case. He knew it ahead of time. She can scream, she can run and yell. He'll probably run her down. No one's going to hear her. They're isolated. He's got all the time to do what he wants as long as he wants. She only has one last chance. If she doesn't act, and fast, and gouge his eye, she doesn't have a weapon. She has no more resources. That's her last chance. And what you just saw here worked. It worked fine. We made it work. I was at the real crime scene. It didn't work. At the real crime scene, he raped her after he beat her. Then he shot her, and we found her 3 days later. This woman didn't have a chance. She lost that best chance of hers back at crime scene number 1. If you ever get a chance talking to a cop to ask him, tell me about your worst case, I lay odds he or she would tell you it was an armed intruder. In the last year checked in America, 1991, there were 480,000 armed intrusions. 1 year. 144,000 of them ended in violent crimes. A woman raped, or another family member shot, badly beaten, or killed. Remember we talked about crime scene number 2? How the isolation allowed control and time to go from crime to crime, more and more violent. That's exactly what happens inside a home when armed intruders are there. Think about this to yourself. Crime scene number 2, you'll never forget those words, will you? Armed intrusions into homes are exactly the same problem for you. You're isolated. I want to show you one of my cases and what happened to a family of 3 when 2 intruders got in. Watch this. Sliding glass doors. They're notorious for people getting in.
Get up. I hear something downstairs.
Sleepy-headed, disoriented. Daughter hears it. Daddy! Goes to parents. That's it. They've got her.
Get back. Don't move.
This is the beginning of the end for that family.
Hang it up.
They'll always go for adult males first to control them, beat them. Confusion, terror, panic. The only one who knows what they're doing are the crooks. They've done it before.
Favorite times. Maybe when you got him on Father's Day. Now, go get it.
The sadness is that homeowners, moms and dads, actually go to get the ties of the rope. They think they don't have any other choice, and they wind up helping the criminals tie up an adult family member, holding that daughter, gun to her head. You're watching how it happened. When I said they're savage, when I said they're violent, I meant it. Not only do they brutalize people, but they force family members to watch you brutalize their loved ones, including little girls like this one who had to watch while her mother was raped. I'd like to give this family another chance. We're going to rewind it. This time, they've spent some time talking to each other. They've got an escape plan. Watch the difference.
Go check it out.
Husbands, you're always going to be told, get out and check it out. Count on it.
Get out! Shut up!
He yells, intruder, get out. Daughter doesn't run into the other room, which made it so much easier to control the whole family because she was in the room with her mom and dad and the intruders. She's got a rope. She's going out. A family escape plan. It's based on, if you have children, that all of your children, right from 4 years old and up, are part of that plan. If it was just you and I as a family, we could think about it and talk about it and make decisions without any role play because we're adults. We can imagine things. We've got life experience. But when you have a little girl, children with you, they don't have the life experience. They have to be taken through a role play process. You've just seen a family, in the second chance we gave them, get out of the house. Anything that happens quickly, when there's terror, confusion, and people are kind of frozen with fear, happens as a result of planning ahead. That's survival mind setting. What we're going to do right now is we're going to take you through a family home intrusion escape plan. The Rothrock family is going to help us out on this one. Watch.
Well, it's important that we have a plan to get out of the house in case of an intruder or in case of a fire.
Entire family together.
Where to go and
Mom and Dad are leading this.
What we're
The first go through, that's okay.
Go through everybody.
They instruct.
And everybody's going to decide where they're going to escape.
That sets the stage for taking this seriously.
Where we're going to meet afterwards.
So what we're going to do is we're going to practice this and show you how to escape out of your room and then run to the neighbor's house because Ann knows that we're going to be practicing this today, okay?
You just heard us say that we're going to practice and then we're going to run next door to the neighbor's house because Ann, the Rothrock's neighbor, knows they're going to be practicing. They involved a neighbor. The critical issue here is you see the entire family together. The young children are involved in it from minute one. The next thing you're going to see now is critical to something I call psychological permission. Watch this as the family goes all the way through it, room to room.
So you have to go out the sliding glass
Mom and Dad
door.
still eating.
Now in the kitchen, if you come
One
in here,
room
you have a couple of options.
to the next.
You have the window and you have the sliding glass door. The window would slow you down though, because you'll have to climb over to get to the window, and we want the fastest way out. So you'll have to go out the sliding glass door.
Okay, now in Jonathan's room,
Upstairs.
we've got two ways
Remember
to
the
get
rope
out. We've got the door,
the little girl used earlier?
the window. And it's easier to go out the front door, but in the case where there's an intruder in the house, we need to know how to go out the window. So we're going to have this rope that we're going to tie to the
He's
bottom
going to
of the
tie
window
it and secure it, and it's going to stay there.
And
They don't have to
you
look
go
for
out
it
the
now as a
window,
family. It's secured. Remember,
open the window,
this home intrusion escape drill is exactly the same for fire.
and throw the rope out and climb down the roof.
I can guarantee you this, going down a rope is easy, especially for your children. Not at every few feet. It won't be a toy. If you take it serious, your kids will take it serious. Remember I said before we went over to that sequence, the words I used, psychological permission? Those are critical for you and your family and your children getting out. It comes down to this. I have adult children. When they were young, there's no way they would have left our home, gone to a neighbor's, left their mom and dad to get help. Young children won't do that. As parents of young children, you know that as well. Somehow you have to instill an ability in those young children to know that they have a job, a role. That's part of going from room to room to room. It's not by accident that I ask you to do that. You see, it not only helps young children to see, I get out of this room this way, in this room I get out this way. Instead of having to go across the house or to the particular room to get out a particular window, they're able to get out from each room. It's much quicker. Plus, it's a conditioning process of children learning that they have a job to go out and get help. Their mom and dad have a job to help them get out and help other children out. On that, let me answer a question that comes up. Do moms and dads ever get out themselves? Not until your children are out. You know that. There's no way that you would ever leave your children. You see, if you talk to your children ahead of time, it's going to be easier for them to get out themselves or to quickly act upon your helping them get out. The psychological permission will enable them to be able to see themselves with having a job, a role, and then acting upon it. Now, in the next sequence, we're going to see the actual escape process for this family. This man's not an intruder. He's a neighbor. When you role play, never use a family member as a crook. Always use a neighbor or friend.
Intruder,
Dad
get
sees
out.
him, yells, intruder, get out.
Get out.
Kids act. No questions asked.
Yes, I need to report an intruder.
When you're watching these kids go down, watch how quick and easy it is for them. Also, watch how they make noise. They scream, yell. This guy's not going to need rope. He's going to just use this tree.
Intruder! Help! Intruder!
Scream? You bet.
Intruder!
Go to the safety neighbor next door? You bet. Why scream? And because it alerts other people. It helps focus them on what they're doing as well.
What's wrong, kids?
There's a intruder in the house.
Come in.
Let's discuss now some polishing up that family intrusion drill. Number one, a question that always comes up is, what word do I use? I mean, do I use a criminal or do I use bad people? Use the word intruder. just like you use the word carjacker. Carjacker means a particular kind of person. Intruder means a particular type of person. What that does for your children is it helps them to focus on a particular kind of person, and it doesn't mean anyone else. And so when you yell, intruder, get out, they know it's an intruder in our home, and they have a better chance of getting out. By the way, is everyone going to respond perfectly well? Everyone going to get out? Maybe not. But all you need in your family is to break this control intruders have from 2 or 3 hours late at night behind locked doors and closed windows is one family member to get out. Also, when you're talking to your children about run next door, use the word escape. Run means too many things. Escape, once again, is a pinpoint type of word. It tells them exactly what they're doing, escaping their house. Can you see it now? The family with a home intrusion escape plan, at least they've got a chance against this kind of savagery. Folks, there's a hell of a difference between hours of terror and just minutes because one family member got out. Home intrusion drills, they save lives. There's probably no more pressing question or controversial question in our country today than should you have a gun in your home loaded to protect your family? It's not a gun ownership issue. It's should you load any of the guns you have at home. I'm laying out for you 5 criteria. I'm asking you, meet all 5 or unload your weapons. Let's start with criteria number 1. Criteria number 1.
Good night, sweetie. I'll see you in the morning.
See you in the morning.
You load it, you're responsible. Big hassle? You bet. You're seeing Anna here load her weapon up just before she goes to bed. That meant it's been unloaded during the day while she was away, and your children may be at home, or at least having access to her home. If you're asking me a big hassle, yeah, a hassle, cheap insurance. In the morning, she gets up, unloads it. She's going to be going off to work. Puts it in another location, but unloaded. Criteria number 1, you load it, you're responsible for it. I think we're going to, in this country, reach a point when we make that a rule. A rule that requires you, when you leave the house, to unload your guns, so that there's not the tragic accidents we read about. We already do it with bartenders or people who even serve drinks at private parties. We hold them responsible for serving drinks to drunks who go off and drive drunk and then kill people. It's about time we started to consider it with people who leave loaded guns in their home. You've read the stories. I've been to the crime scenes. My last one was a 4-year-old boy killed accidentally by his father with a bullet through the neck, mistaken for an intruder. Rule number 2. Know your gun, know how to clear jams, get basic marksmanship training. Let's watch this.
Case that did not work. The most common
Anna
reason
again.
for it not to work.
Just as important as learning how to clear a jam is knowing how to unload a weapon. Too many kids are dead because the round was left in the chamber.
In that case, let's drop the magazine so that we can't load another one. Then you pull back right here, okay? And
Let
roll
that
it
bullet fall
and see
out.
if it will fall out. And if it falls out, then the jam has been cleared. Okay, then we're going to fire over here on the orange and white target. Okay, just go ahead and fire. Don't worry about being perfect. Okay.
Criteria number 2, basic marksmanship training. You just saw it at the right spot at a firing range with a qualified firearms instructor. Don't make this mistake, please. Don't have your big brother, your dad, or just a boyfriend or someone else you know take you out, show you how to use a gun in the backwoods, plinking at cans. That's not basic marksmanship training. Make certain that you get basic marksmanship training from qualified experts at regular firing ranges, and it must involve someone who knows about clearing jams and training you in that as well. Next, we're getting into the meat of using a weapon to save your life. It's called point of aim. You'll see me with Anna on the firing range, taking her through the basics of point of aim. Here we go. Point of aim shooting is learning how to use a weapon to save your life or someone else's life. It's not basic marksmanship. It's not hunting. It's not sport shooting. It's a thrusting of your hands and arms out at a target. Fixed eyes, intense concentration. And a man is coming at you. Intense concentration on what cops call the 10 ring. You see that little spot in the middle of the man's, the silhouette target's chest?
Yeah.
That's the 10 ring. You can't use your sights when a man is coming at you at 10, 8, 7 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet. It doesn't work. You don't have enough time. You have to bring your weapon out like this, and as I'm doing in slow motion now, but for you it'll be fast. And then it's a matter of simply fixed eyes on that 10 ring, an intense concentration. Imagine it like this. Imagine that your mind and all the power that you have within your body and mind is flowing down through your arm to your firearm and to that 10 ring. It's that much concentration. You thrust the arms out like this. Freeze, or you're dead man! When it's close, it's too late and too close to use your sights. Point of aim is the bottom line when your life's on the line at close range. And the heart of point of aim is concentration. Concentration decides who lives and who dies when there's only feet and split seconds available to you. Criteria number 4, can you kill a man with that gun you have loaded to protect yourself or a family member? An honest question that demands of you an honest answer. In this next sequence, you'll see Anna actually imagining in her mind using a weapon to protect herself against an intruder. That's the steps I asked you to go through, imagining yourself all the way through to the end. Let's watch it.
Freezer, you're a dead man!
Are you mentally prepared to pull the trigger and leave a dead man? If you say yes to that, you need to know this. It's probably only going to be a few feet. For me, it was only inches. You also need to know this. It's going to be real loud. Both of you be screaming. It's going to be bloody. You'll get his blood on you. He'll come after you. He'll probably reach you. He'll get to you, touch you, grab you. Please, don't expect a one-hit stop. It's going to be a bloody affair, unforgettable, etched in your mind. You needed to hear that. Criteria number 5, make a weapon your means of escape. Let's watch. Watch Anna now. She doesn't wait, she doesn't reload, she doesn't shoot again. She didn't have to, she could see that. She escaped right away. I said, use a weapon as your means of escape. I don't say please too often. I am now. I'm asking you, make a weapon purely a means to ensure you escape violence. These 5 criteria I've laid out for you, I'm not challenging you with them. I'm asking you, until you meet them, unload, please. 1 hour ago, I told you the heart of learning how to survive violence is getting a survival mindset. And part of a survival mindset, putting it into action, is who begins it? Who starts it all? The one quality, the first and most important quality you need is leadership. What I'm asking you right now is, would you see in yourself the one who's got to begin it all at home or at work? I guarantee you this. Sometime in your life, you'll hear about a family member or a friend or a colleague at work who faced a crisis and survived and escaped. And you'll know, quietly, inside, that it was because of you a long time ahead of that and your leadership that they had a good chance and were able to escape. That'd be your payoff. Thanks for joining me tonight. See you later.